Shadaim, Hedun Nefer. Peace and blessings. I am Queen Mother Imaku, your renegade wise woman. I'll tell you, I am in bliss at this moment. I just washed my hair. I gave myself a spa day also where, on spa days, you do all the little extra niceties for yourself, with the pedicure and all that other stuff. I always use coconut oil to, instead of lotion, because I can't speak for everybody else, but I can speak for me. It works great, and it actually energizes you. And today I have my little espresso cup or demi-tasse cup. It's a good thing. If you're going to do coffee, also do it in small doses. All right. And so I love these. You can find these in the thrift store in absolutely just brand new condition. I have a series that I purchased that I am in love with, and again, it makes sure that you don't overdo. I mean, of course, you could just sit here and just keep refilling and sucking it up, but I mean, the idea is that you're able to regulate yourself with a nice small portion like this. Now, I cleansed myself today with lemon verbena soap because lemon verbena is excellent for just purification, and also it's said to slough off any cellulite, that kind of thing. Getting older, and you just kind of want to watch out for those kind of things, all right? But that's good for any age. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because today is Tuesday, and it is Sekhmet's Day. And on Sekhmet's Day, usually, it's a great business day for me because I've got a lot of Sekhmet in my chart, but in my astrological chart. I'll talk about that later. But the other side of Sekhmet is Het Heru. And both of these divine aspects of the divine limitless creative force represent higher love. One is love for mankind, that is the Sekhmet side, and also love for your body through purification. Het Heru is love for loving yourself, and also a higher love that truly passes all understanding. Now, I left off in my series in talking about Sekhmet and the Eritu, or the chakras, or Eriut. And these are the energy spheres that are in your body and that connect you to the divine. I left off in talking about the solar plexus, or Sunkti, as we refer to it as in Sharem Shenu Temple. And the importance of having the divinely aligned will. I'm aligning my towel here. And I've been asked a number of questions regarding matters of the heart. How appropriate that now we are moving into Hat or Haut, which is the heart, also known as Eb. And all of that deals with intention. It deals with the pure aspect of the soul and releasing of bitterness, releasing of, being able to forgive yourself first and then forgiving others. So in answer to the questions about how you're able to move on if you have been victimized and if you have found yourself in cycles of abuse, we find in today's society there are so many sarcastic and negative conversations that we're bombarded with and that we're expected to accept as the norm. The way men and women speak to each other, couples and relationships in general, where there's sarcasm and you're putting one person down, or you get into a thing where you're putting each other down. That's not cool. Even though you accept it as the way that men and women or that couples should react to one another, it's not right. Being used to it does not make it right. And it's not showing the utmost respect to one another. Insulting your partner and then saying, well, I was just joking, you can't take a joke, or here's the ultimate thing. You're too sensitive. Yes, I am sensitive to your calling me names. Because if you love me, you should not be calling me names or insulting me in public or in private. You should not try to make me feel like there's something wrong with me because you spew venom at me or because you chip away at my self-esteem with the horrible things that you say to me. Yeah, I'm sensitive about it and should be. And if it gets to the point where you are not sensitive about it, then you need to check yourself and you have go have a conversation with a counselor or a minister, and just to find out, is it me? Am I being too sensitive? Because for people who come to me, I tell them, no, this is not acceptable. This is not an acceptable standard for your life. If you love yourself enough, you will not stand for it. And once you begin to put your foot down, if the person retaliates with more venom and is not willing to check him or herself in the way that they communicate with you and why they communicate with you the way that they do, because, a lot of times it doesn't really have anything to do with you. It has to do with that person. And they're looking at the opportunity to bully you based on their own insecurities. When you're with someone, you should build each other up, not tear each other down. And even if you have to offer some constructive criticism, you do it in a way that is loving, all right? Not mean-tempered, not spiteful, not sarcastic. Now, when you find that you have been constantly victimized, or even if you've been victimized one time, if you're in a situation right now or you're being physically, mentally, emotionally, or psychologically, or spiritually, or sexually abused, manipulated, gaslighted. Okay, gaslighting is an old term. It means when people do things to you and say things to you and then make it seem like I didn't say it, or will say I didn't do that. Oh, no, you didn't remember it right. Oh no, you made that up. And they try to convince you that you're crazy when you're not, when they're the ones out of order, but they're trying to make you think that you're nuts. Okay. When people are in those situations, I tell them, what are you there for? What happened in your past that has you replicating this cycle? Because 9 times out of 10, there is something that the person is repeating. Whether it is a parent or both parents who constantly berated, seldom gave praise, made you feel like you were just a tool. If you have had a parent that was a narcissist, they say woe unto the child of a narcissist, because you are basically there just to be a tool to make the parent look good. And if you refuse to be manipulated, if you stand up for yourself, if you refuse to go along with their games, then you become like dirt to them or dead to them, and they will verbally run you down to whoever will listen, which is unfair. We have a lot of that going on in the world today. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. The narcissistic mind is dangerous, and what they will do to you is dangerous, because they can drive you over the edge, or you find yourself alienated for your own protection's sake because of the venom that is spewed at you, simply because you are affirming your right to have your own life. I find often that people get in situations where they are living the life that is pleasing to someone else just to keep peace in the house. I did that. I did that. I had a couple of marriages where I did that. And I had a reason. I had 2 children, and in the first marriage to their father, I wanted to have peace in the house because he was abusive. It turned out that unfortunately they experienced some of the abuse. But I did everything I could to try to placate in order to keep peace in the house. However, because I do have Aries in my chart. I fought to I fought for my own voice, and once I found out that the laws were on my side, because at the time I was being raised as a good Christian girl, and that meant back then it meant that even if you were in an abusive situation, that you had to stay and tolerate it, and that this was your lot in life, and to be the dutiful wife, that you had to put up with whatever was handed down to you. And but once I got a clue, and then also when I found out the laws were on my side, I had him put out and got a restraining order. Okay, and went further than that when I found out the level of abuse that he had. I mean, because I didn't know he was being cruel to the children and so forth. And so once I found out, I put the children in therapy, put myself in therapy, and also made sure that he was put out of our lives. I got 100% custody of my children. Okay, and didn't have to worry about him again, because my children are an extension of me, and I love them. And I made the appropriate sacrifices I had to once I found out what was going on to keep them safe, to keep myself safe, but mainly to keep them safe, all right? Then entered into another situation with a man who was a real piece of work. I endured that simply because of the fact that I wanted my children to have stability. And 13 years later, when I couldn't take any more of his mental abuse, he was a trip. I finally asked for the divorce, and went to my children and was expecting that they were going to be upset because the fact that, at least in spite of his craziness, there was some level of stability that was established in the house. And when I went to them and told them that I was divorcing him, they both said to me, "What took you so long?" And here I stayed in it for them. If I had listened to my instincts, I would have never even gotten into that, but I would have gone ahead and left a lot sooner, as my instincts said, because as I got stronger in my own self-worth and understanding my self-worth, I recognized that I had to make a change. And that meant that I would have to be strong enough to stand up to the issues that were going on in the house in order to fight for my sanity and the sanity of my children. Because, my goodness, it was really something. But the biggest thing over the years has been my looking at why I would keep drawing these different patterns with people abusing me in some way or another. Even for some of the people that I have taught who like to do head games with me. You've heard me talk about this before. Doing head games with me about not sending me my money because they wanted to see how I was going to make out. If they wanted to see, wow, is this spiritual system really real? And then telling me later, wow, Queen Mother, I didn't send you the money because I wanted to see what was going to happen. Wow, this stuff, no matter what, you always land on your feet. And then I realized, you know what? This is another level of abuse. I don't need this. And I've had to really, really do a lot of introspection. Let me tell you something about this path. Checking yourself on a regular basis is necessary. And it is a requirement if you are going to call yourself Kemetic. See, this is where I can tell people who really are Kemetic and those who are not. Because if they're walking around acting like they have no problems and they've never done anything wrong, and they don't even want to acknowledge that they've ever done anything wrong, and they don't check themselves to change, then I know you're just faking the funk. You just walking around wearing your ankh, talking about Hotep, and you want to just put up a facade. And having the 42 principles of Ma'at up on your wall for everybody to see when they come in the house is supposed to be the thing that convinces them that you really are Kemetic. And I'm really not just speaking to people who are Kemetic, because when I do my messages, I do them for whoever is going to benefit from them who's listening, all right? But I will tell you that becoming Kemetic helped me to become stronger. Whatever your faith is, delve more into it. If it is one that truly is one that draws you closer to the creative force, and that helps to strengthen you and make you understand that you are worth having a good mate and a good life because the divine creative force is in you. That alone makes you worthy. Your existence makes you worthy. And because you put out good works, and because you are doing the best you can to live up to the best of your ability to be a good person, that means you deserve a good person too. You know, I reviewed my chart yesterday. Take a quick sip of this. Let me just be very specific. I didn't just review my astrological chart yesterday because I do Kemetic astrological charts for people, but you know, I've known my own astrological chart for years. Yesterday, because I swore this year I was not going to be repeating any of the mistakes that I made in the past, I sat down and did a full reassessment of my own astrological chart from the Kemetic perspective and learned that I've been living out the chart exactly. And had I had a deeper understanding of all the components in that make up this person that you see sitting before you, there were a lot of things I would not have done. But I also understand a lot of the things that I did do because I didn't know any better and because I didn't have the clear understanding of who I am. It's vital that you understand all of the energies that comprise you and all the things that can push your buttons. We're getting ready to go into part 2. Come on back and I'll teach you about forgiveness.